My brother and I were born in Oklahoma, and my father was very abusive to my mother. The first memories I have of him abusing her, and the one time she attempted to protect us, she kidnapped us and brought us to Texas. During that time, my father found out where we were, and he came and got us and moved us in with his parents in the Houston area, off a telephone road. From my earliest memory, my uncle sexually abused me. My father was heavy into drugs, and I just remember the craziness of his lifestyle, how that was, and the things that my brother and I saw that we should not have seen. Him and his friends doing drugs, women that he would bring home, and stuff like that. A couple of times he would pack us up in the middle of the night and take us, we would be on the run because he had warrants for his arrest and he was running from whatnot. When I was about 5, I had this accident where I got this scar, and I don't really remember the details of that, but I remember being pulled out from underneath the truck and him and my uncle arguing about somebody taking me to the hospital because neither one of them wanted to go to jail. They were afraid they would be arrested. And what I remember, this is so funny because I was so ticked that there was blood all over my pink coat because I didn't have it. That was like the girly thing I had. I had to wear my brother's clothes. I mean, they would like shave my head so they didn't have to deal with my hair, and I had to wear his clothes, and I just didn't get to be a little girl. And so I had this pink coat that my mother's mother had given me, and there was blood all over it, and it was ruined, and I was so mad about that. But anyway, that's just the kind of lifestyle it was. And then I was about 10 when my father, he had begun sexually abusing me, but it was just kind of a little bit here and there. And I was about 10 whenever he really got bad in his behavior. And on my 11th birthday, that's when the rapes began. And it was just a very lonely way to live, and very angry because I knew what was happening was wrong. I didn't know what was right, but I knew what was happening was wrong. So about a year after the attacks began, I say attacks like it's any better. Rape is rape, and it's horrible every single time. So in the 6th grade, I went to the school counselor and I just laid it all out there. And Child Protective Services came to the school and did an interview, and they sent me home. They needed to get some police backup. My father had already had 2 felony convictions. He was just all around bad character. And so I went home, I walked home, and I locked myself in the bathroom like they directed. And a couple hours later, Child Protective Services and the police showed up and took me from the home and put me in foster care. And then eventually moved in with my mother in the summer after the school year let out. And the relationship was awful. She was really angry, and she really treated me as if I had orchestrated this scheme so that I could move in with her, because I had always wanted to move in with her, and she always really treated me like she was annoyed. I was just like an annoyance. And I say that in a delicate way because she's not the same person now that she was then, and I want to honor that. It's important for her and for me. So I would find people to spend time with, and it was the wrong crowd at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I got in with a lot of the kids in the neighborhood that were not supervised, and we moved so many times. I never had a solid friend. I met a boy and I got pregnant, and I was 14 years old. And so when I got pregnant with Emma's my oldest daughter, I just felt like there was something new, and I just focused on that. There was something new and different, and it reminded me of the time that I was at camp. It reminded me that there was something other in the world than all of the things that I had known. And so my heart just decided that Emma was new, that my baby was new, and I was going to keep her, and I was going to protect her, and I was going to be her mother. And it is a bit ridiculous. I was 14 years old. I started school at an alternative school in high school when I was pregnant with Emma, and after she was born, she was able to go to a nursery so that I could continue going to school. When I got pregnant with her, I knew that if my father found out that I was pregnant, he would try to take her from me. There was no way that as I was breathing, I would ever allow him to come near her. And the only weapon that I had to protect us was that I could still press charges on him for the rapes. And so you have a period of time, and I was within that period of time, and so I pressed charges on him in a trial. We began a trial process. And it would have been his third felony conviction if he was convicted of the crime. And that's what I was hoping for, because then he would be away from us and we would be safe. And I knew we would never be safe if he wasn't. I was in school one day and I was in the cafeteria, and these two teachers came towards me, and I knew automatically what was going to happen, because we had made the school aware of the trial that was going on, and my father had made bail a couple of months before, and he just made so many awful threats. So the teachers came towards me and they said, "We need you to come with us right away, and just be quiet and just come with us." And they took me to the principal's office and put me in the principal's closet, and the principal said, "Do not move don't open this door, just stay right here." And they turned the lights off, and I could hear they close the door, and then I could hear them close the principal's door, and then I was standing in that closet by myself. The only thing that I could think about was I needed to put my hands on that child. I needed to make sure she was safe, and because if he got to her before I did, I would never see her again. And I just couldn't handle that. I couldn't even wrap my mind around that. And the other thing I kept thinking is that, am I never going to get away from him? Am I never going to be allowed to live? And the police were called, and my father left the school before they got there, and the principal came to let me out of the closet, and he said, "You need to stay right here because we don't know where he is, and the police have not arrived yet, and it's just not safe for you to go." And I couldn't even think of anything but Emma, and I just ran out of that school all the way down to the nursery, and I got her and just put her in my arms. And just a couple of years later, my mother called me, and she was just beside herself with grief. She was crying and hiccuping and just really emotional, and that was so out of character in and of itself, because I just didn't see that in her growing up. She definitely never showed that emotion towards me and anything I'd been through, but she called to tell me that my father had committed suicide. He had shot himself. He had left a letter, and the police wouldn't release the letter because of the content. But one of the lines they did read to us, and it said, "I'm sorry for the things that I've done." And this huge weight dropped off my shoulders. And I just felt like maybe I could breathe a little bit easier. And my mother was just beside herself with grief. And I just couldn't connect those two things. I was safe, she was crying. What was the problem? It didn't make sense. I decided to go see this counselor at the local church in my community. I really just kind of dove headfirst into seeking God. I was in Sunday school and I was watching this woman, and she was praying about God, and she was calling him her father. And the word father, that was evil to me, because my father was evil. He was an awful man. And when he abused me, he would say, "I do this because I love you. This is my right. You belong to me, and I can do whatever I want." And he was my father, and I just couldn't connect the love that she had written all over her face while she was praying to her Father God in heaven. I could not connect that to the earthly father that I had, and but I wanted to know what it was. I wanted to know what that was in her. And so I found the sanctuary in the church quiet one day not long after that, and it was really my moment. It was the moment that kind of changed things, and I'm so thankful for it. It was one of several, but I had to get past this thing with fathers. And so I put my head down on the sanctuary, the steps there, and I just prayed. In the Word, it says over and over, "I'm always with you," and nothing happens without God knowing about it, and just all of these things. And so I knew, God was there. He was there when I was raped. He was there when I was abandoned. He was there when I was hiding in a closet trying not to breathe so that nobody would find me. He was there in all of these moments. And I was really, really angry, because I was thinking, if you were there, why didn't you protect me? Why did you let these people take everything away from me? I didn't even know what I had. They took everything away. I didn't even know the extent of what they were taking. And I was really angry. And so one day, again, when I was praying, I asked him that. Where were you at? And I'll never forget this. God, as long as I live, I hope I never forget this. He said, I was surrounding your love. He said, that's where I was. He let man have free choice. That's his greatest gift to us. We have free choice. But he didn't allow those men or the women to take everything from me. I thought they had taken everything, but he protected my ability to love. It's the only thing that really matters. And for that, I'm forever grateful. It's beyond me. So, my name is Tamara, and I have a voice.